Okay, again, today we'll just go over how to do the animation of still images. You'll see we have 5 still images here. They're all in PNG format, as you can see. One problem I had was I made the images too big. Now you can shrink them down because you can make the image, because this is in an image. You can see this is in an image box with some constraints. So you can shrink it down, but it probably would have been better if I made them all, kind of smaller. And I made these at 400 pixels, 450 pixels wide by 250 pixels high, I think is what I made this, and it just didn't fit on the screen, and I just made a different one. So I'm going to make mine my new example today a little bit smaller. I'll do it in Illustrator because Illustrator can make lines really quick and easily, and you can change the line very quick and easily in Illustrator. So to make a wonderful animation in Illustrator, the easiest way is to start with a new file. So I'm in Illustrator, I'm going to say File New, and I'm going to then go over here to Points and change the dimensions to pixels so I know how big I want to make it. So I'm just going to make it maybe, how about we make it 250 wide by 120 high. And of course, we want it this way. So width 250, height 120, and then RGB for our color space because we're making things for the computer screen and not for print. So, just by designating the dimensions you want ahead of time, then remember those. When we take it into Xcode, we will then make our image box the same size. So then I'm going to hit create, and it makes a nice white box right here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit by hitting Command minus. Command minus. I'm going to reset all my windows because somebody else was here on this computer before me. Just like any Adobe product, it leaves the windows the way they were last done. If you want to reset any of the Adobe products back to normal, to the default setting, if you go underneath Window, you can go to where it says Workspace, and I'm going to say Reset to Essentials. What that'll do is reset the windows to all back to default. This is default kind of setting right here. Okay, the windows I'm going to use to do this animation today will be the Layers window, and that's about it, really. We're going to make each one of the graphics on a different layer. So to do that, I'm going to bring up the Layers window so we can see it. And right now there should be one layer here. If you want to pull a window away, you can put your cursor over top of the word Layers or wherever over here. You can just drag out, and that'll bring your artwork out. As you can see, this is the Layers again. If you want to move any windows around, you can click on the word right here. See how I'm dragging on the word Layers? I can put it wherever I want. So whenever you're using one of these pop-up windows, you want to move it around, you can just click on it and you can move it around. If you want to put it back to locking it again, if you drag it over here, you'll notice it kind of turns blue. What that blue over there means, it's going to lock it back over there. And if I click it'll lock it there, whatever. You get the idea. You can move windows around. Next, I'm going to make just a background that has a black background because I want it to be kind of dark so my color lines show up. So I'm going to kind of go over here and make red for my stroke, which would be the line around my object. And then inside my object, I'm going to make black. Okay, so I have a black inside and a red stroke here. And I'm just going to make a rectangle, and I'm going to drag it at the whole size of the box right here. So again, rectangle, black, red, and I'm going to draw a box the size of my rectangle here. Then of course that stroke is kind of thin. I'm going to make it thicker. To adjust the settings for the stroke, there is a pop-up window for stroke. It's underneath Window Stroke, and underneath Window Stroke you'll notice there is a stroke. Again, you can move the window around wherever you want, and I'm going to make it thicker, maybe 5 or 6. Ooh, nice and thick, maybe 5. And then the other thing I want is the line to be inside and not in the middle. Right now the stroke, which is the line, is actually going around the center. If you want it on the inside, there's actually more options here under stroke that you don't see. If you look in the upper right corner here, you'll see these little lines right here. It looks like the burger menu, doesn't it? But there's 4, so I guess the burger menu is 3. It looks like a burger menu in any of these pop-up windows. They got like a burger menu up there. If you click on that, it'll show you more options in those more options right there, you can tell to put the line inside the line. So this is inside, boom, and so that the red is inside of the box that I drew, because I don't want the artwork to go outside that box. I want it to be inside that box so that they're, you know, because if you save it, it's going to cut off half the box, is what I'm trying to say, because it only saves what's in the artboard, and if when we made the box it goes outside, there's a reason to do it. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's make the lines. So again, I have just a box for my player, and I'm going to make some lines that are just going to animate kind of quickly. We'll do it fast. To do that, I'm going to turn off the fill right here. I'm going to turn that off, and just, don't have it selected though. Don't do that. Deselect first. You can use command keys if you want. Command Shift A, deselects if you want, or you can use the black and click on and off. See how I click on and off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on. I'm going to click off this rectangle before I say no fill. Now I'm going to say no fill. And so let's make the lines a little bit different. To make the lines different colors, I'm going to change the color right here, the stroke color. And let's start with an orange line. So I'm going to start with kind of an orange line right there. And to draw the line, I'm going to use the famous pen tool. And if you haven't used the famous pen tool before, again, the pen tool was in the first Illustrator. I mean, literally, I started in Illustrator 88, and there was probably maybe 10 tools in the whole Illustrator 88, and one of the most popular and probably the most useful was this tool called the pen tool. And so to make the lines using the pen tool, I'm going to just click, and I'm going to make kind of squiggly lines, squiggly line, squiggly line, squiggly line, squiggly line. Okay, so that looks great and beautiful and everything, but the problem is it's kind of bright and nasty. So one way I made it a little bit more interesting and a little bit funner was to blur it a little bit. And when you're done at the very end, you hit escape, and that'll stop the line. It'll stop it. So hit escape, stops. No, on mine, escape stopped it. There we go. I don't know. I had to hit it a couple times. Now it stopped it, but before I deselect and make another line, I'm going to blur this. To blur this line a little bit, I'm going to go underneath Effects, Blur, Gaussian Blur. What that'll do is it'll blur this line a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting. And if you hit preview, you'll see, woo, that's way too much. A little bit less. There we go. Ooh, look at that. I like the little, look at that with the little crazy lines there. How about something like that? There we go. Blurred it a little bit. Again, the blur was underneath Effects, Blur, and the one I used was called Gaussian Blur. The Gaussian Blur allows you to have different range of blur. So then after the Gaussian Blur there, I'm going to then go make another line. Let's make another line. Oh, we got to change the color of that one. Hit Escape to stop the line. Let's change the color. How about we do a nice bright blue? And then blur that again under Effects. Apply Gaussian Blur should be the first option now because it recognized the last time that you did it. And I'm going to say Apply Gaussian Blur. Okay, so we got two lines now. One more, here we go. With the pen tool, let's go boom, 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 boom. Ooh, that's pretty ugly. But again, hit Escape to stop the line from doing its line thing. Maybe put some color in there. That's a little bright purple. How about a nice bright pinkish here? There we go. Oh, something like that. And then let's blur that again under Effects. You got Apply Gaussian Blur right there, the first option. Boom. So now we have 3 sets of lines. They're all a little blurry. And boy, we have one done. Remember, I'm going to do at least 5. Now to make the other ones is really easy, really easy. So what I'm going to do is, if you look over here, you'll see in the layer window, I have all my artwork in one layer. Do you see that? All the artwork's in one layer. In fact, I'm going to lock the background layers. If I twirl the little triangle down in the layer window, I can lock the background layer so I don't accidentally click on that and select it. Because I don't want to mess with that. I'm just going to keep that alone. So again, in the layer window, I have all my artwork in one layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer and then just change the pixels on the line. Here, watch how I do that. I'm going to duplicate this layer right here. To duplicate it, you click and drag it in next to the trash can. There's like a little folder right there. If I click and drag it next to the trash can and release my mouse, it'll make a second one, and we can call it number 2 if you want. It'll duplicate it. Again, it's number 2 here. So again, to duplicate, you drag from here next to the trash can right there's like a little folder right there, and you release it, it will make a duplicate copy. So I'm going to make a third one here. In fact, before I start making more and more, I'm going to change them. Let me turn the eyeball off on this number 3. In fact, I'm going to trash that number 3 for now. So I have a 1 and a 2 so far. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to turn off 1. Let's turn off 1. We don't need 1 anymore because it's already done. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this arrow right here, the direct selection tool, which is this white arrow. And what that allows you to do is to adjust the points. So I'm going to use the white one right here, and I'm going to click on the points of my, ooh, not all of them like that. You just want to click on the point here. You click on it twice maybe to select it, and then you can change it. Yeah, I got these settings on this mouse. I have to fix that. Again, you can click on the points and adjust them, adjust them, adjust them, adjust. I'm gonna change each one. The pink one, the blue one. Oh, not all of it. I'm gonna change. You might need to click twice. I'm gonna move it over here. Let's move this one down here. Let's move this one over here. Let's move the yellow one down. I'm gonna move the point down there. So I'm just adjusting them so that they're different. Again, I'm just adjusting the points. Which points am I? Even the end ones, I'm gonna adjust those to. Oh, not the whole thing. Be careful what you click on. Click twice and you'll get your point there. I don't know. Change it a little bit like I just did. Then I'm going to duplicate that layer again. Again, to duplicate the layer, I drag next to the trash can right here. See it next to the trash can? And I'll call that one number 3. 3. And then I can adjust those points. Again, all I'm doing is moving them around a little bit. Maybe move the whole line. It's okay. And let's move them a little bit. Maybe. Oh. And click twice on the dot to try and get it to change maybe. Maybe move this over there. Move them around. You can even add a dot if you really want to. And then and don't forget to move the end one a little bit. That's always cool. There we go. And exaggerate them. Really exaggerate them. No, I didn't want to do that. You might have to click twice on it. There we go. Ooh, these all look too similar. There we go. Wow. Okay, whatever. You get the idea. I'm going to duplicate this one now. And duplicate this one. And I'm going to have a 4. So I'm going to do the same thing. Again, duplicate that one. And then, again, move the lines around just using the thing. I'm just exaggerating. Ugh. Try not to go outside your area. You might need to click twice. Really. Whatever. Okay, last one. I'm going to make 5. Here we go. I'm going to do one more. One more. 5. Oh, really? Okay, whatever. You get the idea. So if you want to see what they look like, you just click on each one. You'll see how the animation works. Right? Here we go. So it'll go boom, 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 and then cycle back to the beginning. So I'll give you a minute. Finish that if you can. Let me export out my lines so we can do our animation. First thing I'm going to do is save my Illustrator file. How about that? I'm going to go File, Save As. You have a working file. It's called AI. It's an Illustrator file, but of course we don't bring AI into Xcode. In addition, I guess we could use the PSD, but the example I found used PNG, so I just went with that. So I'm going to make a new folder on my desktop, and I'm going to call it Lines. And then let's give this a name. This would be Lines. And so I'm going to save Illustrator first. Save Illustrator file. Now to make the PNGs is very easy to do within this program. To do it is I'm going to notice how the eyeballs are on right here. See all the eyeballs in the layer window. There's eyeballs here. So I'm going to turn all the eyeballs off except for the first one here. See the first one, number 1. And I'm going to export that as a PNG. To export that as a PNG, I'm going to go under File, Export, Export As. File, Export, Export As. And then I'm going to choose, remember they have a -0 for the first one. Remember in Xcode, since we're making an array of images start with 0. So the first one is going to be lines, at least my example, whatever name you want. Because remember, we're going to program that word too. So whatever word you use in there needs to be programmed as well, because we're going to be using that as also. So make sure these are all the same. These all need to be the same. Then there's a dash, and then there's a 0, and then there's the extension. I'm going to hit export. And I know it comes up with this crazy one, and mine doesn't come up with this. And it has different resolution. Type optimized, I don't know. Why is it giving me a transparency option here? Why does it give me, my size should be the right size. Why does it have white around the outside here? What is bigger? Why is it making it bigger? It should be the exact size as my artboard. Let me hit OK. Let me see what's going on here. Hold on. Let me find my file. Why is it have all that extra space around it? I want it to be the exact same size as my thing. No, not this one. Where is lines? Lines. There are lines. Oh yeah, that's the right size. I don't know why. But that looks right. What I don't want is white around the outside. I want it to be all just that. Okay, so let's do number 2. Again, how to export out of Illustrator. I'm going to turn on the eyeball. See the eyeball for number 2 layer. Eyeball for number 2 layer. And I go under File, Export, Export As. And I'm going to choose -1. Remember, 2 is 1. I know it's hard to get that in your head, but 2 is 1, and 1 is 2, and 2 is 3, and it just happens that way. So again, I'm going to hit export, and then OK, and then I'm going to hit the eyeball again for this one, the eyeball again for the next one, and I'm going to go under File, Export, Export As, and this one's going to be -2, -2. Export that, export that. Turn on the eyeball again. Go under File, Export, Export As, and I'm going to say -3, which is really 4. And I'm going to export that, and then turn the eyeball again. One last one. File, Export, Export As, and let's put -4. Okay, so I have 5 files to cycle through for my animation. Let me save this, and then I will put it on the server. So again, I'm going to put this on the server. Let me compress this, compress it. Yes, here it is, lines. Let me put it on, I'll put it on canvas in the same area here. And we'll just put it there. Hold on, there it is. So again, there should be one right here. So if you go to Canvas and you go to Class and go to the very last one, all the way down to the very bottom there, you see where it says Jeff's line animation. If you open that up, you'll notice there is my example that I've already programmed here, and then here's my 5 images here. If you want to use my images, they're right here. You just click on them. It's going to ask you to save your file, save it, uncompress it, and then we'll get started in Xcode. Okay, I'll give you a minute. If you want to use mine, download them. They're right there. Hold on, let me find my music one. I think we got it to work, didn't it? Oh, I was doing there was no music playing. It was like Edgar Allan Poe or something. I need some music. I need some hip stuff. I guess we could do it with Poe for now, and then I can change the music. Let me see. I'll also put it right into play music. Here it is. Did we get it to work? Let me test.
The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay. Boy, the line's going with this is going to be kind of boring. It would be nice to have some music, but whatever. Let's just jam it into there. I'm going to put it down here. Okay? I'm just going to put the animation down here. So, if you don't have a music player, that's okay. Just follow the steps to make it. But we'll also just throw it in here if we already have it. Okay? Okay, ready? Okay, here we go. Again, the first thing you want to do is put yourself in a image to put the images in. So I'm going to go to my main storyboard right here, and I'm going to go down here towards the bottom, and I'm going to get myself an image view. So I'm going to type in image for my my image view, and I'm going to jam it in here. And I don't know how it's going to play well with the others because this is all in a stack here. You know what? Maybe I'll jam it under the volume control right here. There we go. I'm going to jam it under there so it's in the stack. So this original one that we made, we put everything in a stack, and I'm going to put it underneath my volume control, even though my volume control doesn't work for some reason. Whatever. I'm going to put it right here. So if you remember when we were making a music player, I made a stack view. So whatever way you want. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is make sure it's the right size. You remember what size I made it in Illustrator? 250 by 120. I'm glad somebody remembers it. So I'm going to click on it, and of course, you go to your constraints here, and I'm going to type in width of 250 and height of 120. And then I'm going to hit add to constraints. Boom. So it's the right size. It's stuck in a stack, so I don't have to really worry about the edges, right? Because the edges aren't important if it's stuck in a stack, because the stack has the edges, right? The leading and trailing. So I just jammed it again. I jammed it here in my stack view. The stack view is the one that has the constraints. So very nice and simple, I was able to do that. Next thing I need to do is bring in those images that I made and put them in my music over here. So one of the things you could do to organize your junk that you have over here, and I think one of the problems that some of us run into, and I might have emailed you when I was looking at some of your homework, that, you know, your file organization over here is very important to how Xcode organizes your stuff. So if you move things around or you name them with crazy names, sometimes it doesn't work. So here's one way you can go about it. You can make a folder here. So I'm going to make a folder over here and put my stuff in the folder. So you can organize your stuff over here by making folders under Edit. Not Edit, I'm sorry. Where was it? Folder. I know I was able to make a folder. Where was folder? Where I was making folders. New group. Sorry. Took me a while to remember that. So if you want to make folders over here, in your when you're organizing your files over here in of course the file making area, you can make a folder by going under File, New, and say Group right here, Group, and that'll make a folder. You can see the folder right there, and I'm going to call it Lines, like that. Then I'm going to import. Now notice how it's still selected. It's still blue. I have it highlighted there. To put the artwork in that folder right there, you go underneath File, Add. Where's Add? Where's Add? Add. There's an Add button. File, Add. Add files. There it is. See, it says File. So I want to add. So again, select the Lines folder, File, Add Files right here, the second one under File, Add. And then I'm going to go to my folder. Go to my folder. It's on my desktop. And I'm going to choose my 5 PNGs. And I'm going to say Add. And it puts them in that folder. See how see how they're in a group? Now they don't have to be in this asset window. They don't have to be in there because we're programming them. I don't know why you don't really need that in there. In fact, what I want to do is for the first, I'm going to go and put the first line in there so it's not invisible. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go back to my main storyboard right here, and I'm going to choose my UI viewer right here, the thing that I made here, and I'm going to select my first one, number 0, and put it in there. How I do that again is under the attributes right here. See, under attributes and under image, I'm going to choose my first one, number 00, this one. That way there's one in there first. Ooh, it looks a little smaller. I don't know, for some reason I haven't been able to, it looks a little smaller. I'm struggling with getting the right images to fit in the right boxes for some reason. But again, I selected the box and I chose the first one under the attributes so that it's there now. It's going to be stopped until the person hits the play button. Then it'll start animating. Okay, so again, I have it here. You can see the first one in there, and so on. Whoosh. The engine started. It's noisy, isn't it? It goes all the way to the ceiling. I guess if we had to break out of here, we could go through that. Okay, everybody cool? You ready to continue? Okay. So the first thing we need to do is an outlet. Well, we already have a button right there. We already have a button, so we don't need to make that. Okay, but we need to make an outlet for this. So again, we're going to drag the outlet in. Let's bring up our code. To bring up our code, I'm going to use the Olympic, boom, Olympic. I'm going to hide this for now. Now you'll notice I have some outlets already made for so on. Make sure this is the Swift file here. Why is it not looking quite right here? This is it? I had more stuff, didn't I? This is just the outlets. No, it's not showing me everything. This is what I want, this one. Why sometimes it doesn't show me everything? I don't know. Does anybody know how to fix that? And show me everything. There we go. Whatever. I finally got it. Let me move this a little bit. In fact, we don't need this one if I wish it. How do we get rid of this one again? This one? There we go. Okay, here we go. So we have our player here. We're going to make an outlet here towards the top. How come I have this here? Maybe that's the reason why my thing is broken here. I don't have a closing bracket here, don't I? Ooh, there we go. Maybe that's why I was having a problem. Ooh, that's not good. What is this one going to? This goes to something. Oh, I guess it goes all the way down here. Really? It goes here. That go? Which one does this one go to? This one goes to what? This one, I guess. Doesn't it tell me sometimes? Oh, that one goes to that one. What is this one going to? That one. This one right here seems to have a... Where's this one going? I think there's a problem with my slider because of this. That's why my slider's not working. But I don't know where this goes to. This one goes all the way down to that one. This one is going where, though? Does it go all the way down to this one? That one goes there. I think that's why my slider's not working. This is definitely a problem here. What if we deleted? We tried deleting this? Oh, didn't get any messages. I just removed that, whatever that. Oh, no, there is a problem there. Okay. Okay, so I guess we'll just leave it in there. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Let me just put in my outlet. So, again, I'm going to drag this image outlet, control drag it up here towards the top, and it's going to be an outlet, and we're going to give it a name. And so it's an image view. Image view is fine. And I'm going to call this lines. Let me look at my other one. Can't remember what I called it. Hold on. Let me cancel for a moment. Hold on 1 minute. How about this? We print this out. How many of us are here? 7, 8? 8 of us here? Let me print it out. I'm not going to be able to remember everything. Nine of us. Now I got one less. Oh, and it didn't even print it. Oh, hold on. Let me stop this. It's out of paper anyway. Okay. Let me cancel this for a minute. Hold on. Let me pause this. So let me get back to my version here. What is it? The new version we're making. Here it is. Okay. So if you want to watch the video I watched is here. This is the video. Video on how to do the animation is right here. This one right here. It's about 10 minutes long.
Python's where it's at. You can do almost anything with it. You know, you should take this online Python.
What's up, everybody? We're back with another Swift snippet.
So again, I watched this video, and this is all I did. I followed his tutorial. He does a very good job of explaining why things are done and why you would put the code in. You know, so I highly recommend it. We'll do it without watching it for now, and I'll try and explain the best I can to you. But again, you should go back and watch this guy if you have time. He does a really good job, okay? So again, let's get to here. Oh, not there. Where are we going? We're going back to Xcode. Here it is. Okay, so again, we need to make our outlet. I didn't finish doing that. To make our outlet, again, I'm going to control slide up here, and I'm going to follow kind of what I wrote down here. I called mine lines image view. So you can see it right there. It's the third line there in the handout that I just gave you. It's going to be an outlet. Remember, it is a variable, a UI image view UI. So I'm going to call mine lines image view like that, and then hit connect. So that now is connected. This is connected to the code. The next thing is you need to make a variable to store all your images in. You'll notice there's one called lines images, and so the next line is going to be a variable. So you'll notice right there it says var lines image, and then with a colon, and then we need to build it as a UI image with your round brackets, as you can see. And then we're going to then go equal to empty right now because we don't have any images in there yet. But eventually we'll be putting images into what's called lines images. Image, right? That's going to be the name of the variable that holds all our images in it. Next, you'll notice I got my so we're going to move around. I do have my audio player, but which we don't have here. Let's move down. So right there at the end of where the super view did load, you'll see it says line images. So now we're going to make an array. Okay, we're going to make an array. You'll notice the total of that array. So I'm kind of down under the super view did load. If you look there, the first line under the view did load, you'll notice that there is a lines there. And so right here, and it looks like it's lines, L-I-N-E-S, lines, images, the same as the array we made, lines, images, with a S. Don't forget the S in there. Lines, images. We're making one there, so it's a it's spelled lines, image, yeah, L-I-N-E-S. This right here needs to be the same as this. You know me and spelling. I actually spelled this wrong up here. I probably should have an S up there. See that? Boom. See, I'm already spelling things wrong. Right here, S here, S there. Make sure you have those the same. And then we're going to say create image array. That's going to be another made up word there, but we're just making it up. Create image array. And then the total is, we have 5, right? And then the image prefix. Image prefix is going to be colon lines. What's that? Oh, create. Yeah, I spelled there. Hold on. Put a C in there. And it's bitching right now because it doesn't know what create image array is. That's okay. We'll make it because we have to make a function, and that function should be down below. So I'm thinking I have some problems up here, you know, because I have, what is this one? This one's connected to here. This one's connected to here, and this one is connected. Oh, okay, that is this one right here. So we want to be actually inside here but underneath here, I think. Yeah, I want to be outside the view did load. So I'm actually going to go down here towards the bottom here. I'm going to remove this right now. There we go. So I'm going to make my functions down here. So again, we need to make a function for our array, and basically what this create image array does is it's going to basically make and the reason why he does this in the video is so that you can change this for any other multiple images, and you're not simply stuck with one. So it'd be much easier, I guess, if we just did one. But the reason why he does it this way is so that you can adapt it to other images, I guess, is the whole point. So again, we're going to make a function down here, and that's going to be called create image array. Oops, lowercase c, please. Whoosh. I'm spelling everything wrong today. And then there's a total. That is going to be integer. That is how many we have, which of course is 5, because you'll notice up there it says 5 up above. And then we have image prefix again. And then that's going to be a string, which is the name of the file, lines, right? Lines. And then we need to send that to the image, UI image. And then we're going to, I can't see, here we are. Hold on, let me make this a little bigger. I'm struggling with my windows here. There we go. Struggling with my images here. Image create, yeah, I know. And then we have that. And then we're going to make a round bracket there. And then we're going to make a variable called image array. Again, this will be for a UI image. Again, we're calling it again. And then it's a UI image, again, which we've already made. And then we're going to equal that to a blank one because we haven't put anything in it yet. Then he does a for loop, and this is the total. Again, is the total is number 5. If you look up here, see 5 here. So if we go on a for loop, we start with 0, and then we add. So it's going to loop for as long as it's less than the total, and of course the total is what, 5? So you can adapt this to any other one. You can add more, right? So right now total is equal to 5 right here, but if you made another one that had 20 or 30 or whatever, you just put 30 in there, right? That's the way it is there. So you see total, and then we're going to put that into a image for image count. So we're going to say let image name equal to, and then the /, and then that's the image prefix, minus / the image count, and then of course this is going to be a round bracket with the prefix of .png. Why do I have too many? It automatically put this in there, didn't it? There we go. Boy, I'm getting all kinds of error messages, aren't I? Okay, so now we need to give image and image name a value. So we're going to say let image equal to UI image, and then named image name, and then put the exclamation point because it doesn't know what it is quite yet. Now it got rid of the error messages. Oh! I thought it would get rid of the error messages. Oh, I got it wrong. It's an equal in there, not minus. I need an equal in there. There we go. So the last thing is to make the image array. by using image array dot append and then the word image. Yeah, I put everything in there, I think.
You want the cart back, or?
No, actually, Scott originally brought that over on the cart.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, sorry, I was getting rid of that. Almost done. So again, it's going to append an image array, and then we need to return the value. And let me clean this up just a little bit. So we need to return. So we need to return image array. Oosh. There we go. And that should then get rid of that error message that we had. Okay. So again, basically you're making an image array right here, which is going to be UI images. There's nothing in it right now, but then we make a for loop to add the images in there, basically. And the reason why you do that is so you can adjust this. Again, we could probably just go, here's one way you could have done this. You could have went variable, image array, UI image, and then just put the name of the files in this box right there. You could probably just put the name of them with commas in between, right? And that would have built the array right there, right? You could have hand-coded that. Well, you don't have to go through this whole thing right here. You could just put the name of the images in there, and I'm sure that would probably work too, right? Okay, so I think the whole purpose of this is so that you can adjust how many of these are up there. So it's a little more flexible, I guess is what I'm trying, than hard coding it. Okay, then the last thing is you actually have to tell it to animate. You'll see right there. So we're going to go below this right here, and we're going to tell it to animate. To tell it to animate, we're going to make a function called animate. And then, of course, we're going to be using the image viewer that's on the screen. Okay. And it's a UI image viewer. UI image view. And then, of course, they are images. Where's the word images come from? I think it comes from up here. Can we have images somewhere? We use images. Image. Oh, I spelled this as just image. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Let's continue. Images, which are UI images. Okay. And then we're going to give it the name of the images. So we call it image view. Is going to be animation. Spell animation right. Animation images equal images. And then we have image view is small image, small I there. Image view is going to be image duration. So it's built in, as you can see. One of the problems that you're going to run into is 1 second is 1. So if you want a half a second, you notice I have a 0.5. Don't put 0.5, it'll give you an error message. You need to have the 0 in front. So if you want a half a second, it would be 0.5. If you want 1 second, it would be 1. If you want 1.5 seconds, it would be 1.5. Oop, 11.5, no. So I just, 0.5 is kind of fast. I might even go a little bit faster. Let me go maybe 3. That'd be 1/3 of a second, 0.3. And then if you want to start the animation, you'll notice that it says image view, start animating. So this will start it doing its thing. Animating, start in image view, start animating, and then we have some round brackets there, and then the last step you need to do is then just add it to the button itself. So you'll notice down there where the play button is, where it says play. Mine is called play audio. See it down here? In my example here, it's just the button pressed, right? Button tapped. So right here where the function is to play the audio, see it right here? It's the outlet. This is the button to play the audio. We need to add the animate in there. Do you see that? So inside of the curly brackets, not maybe after the player. Should be after the player, you think? Should the music play? I guess we can animate first. I don't know. Let's just put it there. So as you can see there, would say animate. And then we're going to animate what? The image view. Image view. And then what are we animating? Well, we're going to animate the lines image view, which is the box. That's the name of the box, or the image, you know, when we did the outlet. Remember we made the outlet? So up here, whatever the outlet is called, whatever it is right here. See this right here? Lines image view, that's the outlet. We need to tell that to store. I'm just going to copy that and bring that down here. That's going to go right there. The lines image view. And then what are we animating? Well, we're animating images. And then what images are we animating? The lines image. Oh, lines image. Images with an S. So again, this is relating to the did I spell everything right? Make sure I spelled everything right. Make sure I spelled everything right. Images, animation, images, animate, view, lines, image. It's the image view here, which is the one on the screen. And then images is images, and this is line images. Where does this line images come from? It comes from up here when we made it. Here it is, this one right here. Lines images is the array. Right here. Okay, let's save and test. Edgar Allan Poe with squiggly lines.
The Raven by Edgar
See, I
Allan
have
Poe.
size problems with my images for some reason.
Dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten.
Okay, uh-oh, the stop doesn't stop the animation. We got to put the stop in there. Okay. So we got to put a stop in there. Why is it looping forever? Well, you'll notice that it is animating forever because we have a there is a way that you can have it. I forget the code, but there is a way to stop the animation. If you want to look up the animation, these animation is part of the actual built into Xcode there. So if you go into your developer documentation, you can actually type in animation. Now there's a variety of different types of animation that are built right into Xcode. Most of them are used for animating objects on the screen. Just like I was talking about earlier, you know, I've been working on a button pushing. So when you hit a button on a screen, if it makes it bigger or smaller, and so on. So there's a lot of different animation options inside there. So there's a whole group of animation. Now the core animation again is for built-in objects, and you'll notice that single keyframe animation for layer properties and so on. Group, timing. There's a particle emitters also. Transform, that's how you can change things and so on. So there's a lot of different animation options. What are some of the ones we used? Animating, animation duration. What was I trying to find? I was trying to find something. Oh, how to animate it once? That duration, right? Oh, that's how fast it goes. I know the dude had one for that in the video. How to get it to stop, or just play once. Okay, let's see if we can get it to stop on the stop button. So, how do we get it to stop? Animate equals what? Stop? False?
Stop animating.
Stop animating?
No, it's the opposite of the one where you started.
Mm-hmm.
Animating.
So we have the function animate, right? So animate, view, and then it puts all that in there. So we just need to turn animate off. Or we could maybe just put the first graphic in there, right? Maybe? That might be one way, where we tell animate to be equal to image view to 0 instead, or not 0, I mean, we could just maybe just put the image in there. Here, let's try that. I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna put it. No volume. Where's the stop button? Oh, here it is, up here. So if we put it in there, and then instead of line images, we could just put the name of the image in there. What do you think? Oh, it'd have to be a variable, though, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would have to be a variable of some time.
What's your goal?
Huh?
What is your goal?
To go back to the first graphic. So when the person hits the stop button, it stops animating and puts the first image in there.
So if you change the animation to the first image,
Yeah.
it'll just keep displaying that image,
Yeah.
but it'll be processing, yes?
Yeah.
So do you want to stop?
Yeah.
So it's the image view dot stop animating. Makes it stop.
Okay, here we go. Just like the audio here. Player
If
stop.
you
Would
go
we
up
animate
5
stop?
lines, go up 5 lines, 4 lines, 3, down 2, image view dot start animating. See where it says that?
Uh-huh.
It's literally image view dot stop animating.
Okay, let's try it.
It's funny because they're not the same as the player. Yeah.
Think something like that?
Then you need to force your image back.
Yeah, didn't like that.
Why? Oh. What did you call your image view at the top for the handle? Outlet, lines, image view. So that should be called lines, image view. That's the word you needed. But it won't necessarily display the item.
It would just stop it.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll stop with the last one that was there.
So you'll have to reload that item.
I don't know. Let's try it.
The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once,
Not bad.
upon a midnight,
Seems to go to the first one, like I wanted it.
dreary, while I pondered weak and weary.
My slider doesn't work though. Does anybody's volume work, or is it just me?
Mine worked initially, but then after I added some constraint, then it stopped working.
Okay, I guess Edgar Allan Poe doesn't really work with the animation, but it was an idea. It might be fun to try a different. Okay, let's give some context. Again, we got Edgar Allan Poe with saying the Raven. We got it to play and stop the animation, but we got these crazy lines, which is great probably for some music, but not very nice for a poetry, which there. So we're gonna steal. So I just went to the internet and I stole this animation by I found an animated GIF. How did I find it? Well, I went into Raven animation in Google and stole it. I know it's copyrighted, I understand. I know I'm stealing this illegally, but we're in the classroom and I'm doing it anyways. To download this, I right-click, save image as. That downloads the GIF to my computer, okay? Once it's on my computer, then I go and I open it in Photoshop. So if I open an animated GIF in Photoshop, you'll notice it opens each layer, okay? So each of the frames of the animation are on its own layer. So what we want to do is we want to save each one of these out as a PNG. To do that in Photoshop is very easy. Kind of the same steps we did with the eyeballs from the other one. Where I'm going to go to the layer window though. Instead of using file export like we had to do here, you could do that if you wanted to. But an easier way to do that is to actually go in the layer window itself inside of Photoshop. And remember the little burger menu in the upper corner like we were talking about? Well, this has 4 lines, a little different than the burger menu. If you click up there, you'll notice this quick export as PNG. What that'll do is that'll export just that layer right there without having to go anywhere else. So you quick export to PNG. It comes up with the name. Again, we're going to call this Raven -0. Remember the first one is -0. So let's make a folder. Let's call this Raven. And then Raven -0 is the first one. Hit save. Turn the eyeball on for the second one. Turn the eyeball off for the first one. Go up here. Quick export again. This one's going to be Raven #1. Turn the eyeball on. Turn the eyeball off. Again, in the layer window in the upper corner. Export. Quick export as PNG. This one's going to be #2. #2. Again, turn the eyeball on, turn the eyeball off. Again, quick export as PNG. This one's going to be #3. Eyeball on, eyeball off, quick export again. Again, it's in the upper corner, burger menu. This will be #4. There we go. Eyeball on, eyeball off, export again. And this is going to be #5. Uh-oh. It looks like it's exporting the same every time. Is this working? I don't know. It doesn't look right. Let me see. I don't know if it's working. What I'm doing is working right. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, they all look the same. Look, that's not working. It's not working. Okay, this is wrong. Don't do what I just told you. Don't do it. Don't do it that way. Okay, that's not working. Okay. Hey, you learn from your mistakes. Why is it not exporting out the layer? Oh, it has the one I have selected. Notice, even though it's turning the eyeballs on and off, it depends on the one you have selected. Dull. That was my mistake. Okay, well, we got one. Let's go to select the layer. There, see, that was my problem. Select the layer, then go under quick export, and now it should be right. Now this one's #1. That was my mistake. I wasn't selecting the layer. So there we go. Select this layer #3. That was my mistake. And that's going to be #2. Again, click on this layer. Click on the layer right there. Click on the layer. And that's going to be #3. Click on the layer itself. Click on the layer. And that's going to be #4. Click on the layer. That'll be number 5. Click on the layer. It's going to be number 6. Click on the layer. This would be number 7. Click on the layer. Oh, click on the layer. This would be number 8. Okay, so now we have 9. It's basically 9. I know it says 8, but we have 9. So let's go and program this. Again, we have all these. I'm going to do the same thing I did before inside of Xcode. This time, I'm not going to delete anything. I'm just going to add to this. So again, if you remember how to make a folder in here is I'm going to click on the File, New Group, and we'll call this one Raven. Then I'm going to add the artwork to this folder here by using File, Add Files, the second option there. And then let's find our Raven. It's on the desktop, Raven. And let's add all these in there. Okay. So then I'm going to change my image viewer. I'm not going to delete this. I'm just going to change it. I'm going to change it. So I'm going to click on the lines here. And then let's first go to our pop-up window here. And we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to put our Raven in there. There we go. There he is. Raven. So we're going to put a Raven in there. There he is. He's a little squished. So I might change the constraints on that so that we're just going to alter the constraints. Don't add new ones in there. To alter the constraints, again, we can click on it and go over here to the little arrow, this one right here. And so what are we looking for? We're looking for, here we go. So the width is 250, so let's change the width a little bit. Let's change that to 200. That looks a little better, doesn't it? 200. Again, how I changed that is I clicked on it and I went to the ruler right here. See the ruler right there? In the ruler, then you can, and then maybe change the height a little bit bigger. Maybe let's make that 140. That looks a little bit more square. Again, how I changed the artwork here was by clicking on it and then going over here to the ruler right here and changing this so it looks a little better, more in proportion to what I'm looking for. Now I don't have to do anything else because remember it's inside of the stacked view which already has its position on the screen. We just needed to change the width and height again, which of this right here. So next thing we need to do, of course, is to not use lines but use the Raven graphics. So, I mean, we could go through and start changing things, or we could just kind of manipulate again. So let's start at the very top. The line image view, I'm going to leave this the same. This doesn't really affect what I'm doing here. So the outlet is going to stay the same. This, I know it says lines image. That's fine. I'm going to leave that the same as well. But I'm going to move on down, move on down, move on down. Right here where it says total, I have 9 now, right? We have 9 images. And the prefix is not lines now. It's going to be called Raven. Raven. Again, this is it right here. So remember before it was lines right here. Where it said image prefix, I'm going to change it to Raven. And then I'm going to change the total there. So let's keep moving down and see where else we need to change. This is the audio player there. Come down here, we got a string, we got image, image count, image there. It's still a PNG because we made them PNG, right? We have image count, we get image array there. We don't need to change anything there, do we? No. We don't refer to lines at all anywhere else, really. I think that's it. The only thing we really needed to change was, of course, the image prefix and the total right there, and I think it'll work. I think that'll work. So let's try it. Let's try it. This hopefully looks a lot better than those horrible lines going. Ooh, it's a little fast.
By Edgar Allan Poe.
It's a little fast.
Upon the midnight dream,
But at least it looks better than those crazy awful lines, doesn't it?
Many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly
Okay, we can slow it down. How about we do 0.7? Let's try 0.7. Let's try 0.7. There we
The
go.
Raven by Edgar Allan
That looks
Poe.
good. Okay, so now you can see, match your artwork to your
While I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint
And I know we
curious
stole
volume
that.
of
You guys could
forgotten
probably
lore.
draw something
While
like that in
I
Photoshop,
nodded,
couldn't you?
nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." Ah, distinctly, I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost.
Tormented soul there, Edgar Allan Poe. Feel so bad for her. Well, all these artists have to live in poverty. Alright. His wife had what? TB. She died of tuberculosis. She got lots of fights at the bar. Like getting drunk and fighting people at the bar. Okay, I don't think I can do the other one until next class. How about we finish the other one next class? Okay, and then next week, what day are we coming? Monday or Wednesday? What was the last class? Monday or Wednesday? Did we find out what day we're supposed to come for final? Let me stop this.